Welcome to another episode of the Mad Fantasy Football Podcast with your hosts, Begley, Goni, and Wayne.
Wow, way to ruin my entry. What's up, Mad Mob?
That's a perfect move.
It's terrible. That's just a bad guy. Right off the bat, dude.
Perfectly.
I couldn't even do my intro before you were being a bad guy.
Man. Wow. I threw him the alley-oop and it just went right through his hands.
No. Hang on. What's up, Mad Mob? Back at it again. A nice Saturday morning episode for you. Leading into this crucial week for most of us. It's the last game for me. I know it's make or break for the playoffs in one of my leagues. I have to win this week in order to get a bye week in another one of my leagues. Actually, in two of our leagues. The one, Dynasty Warriors, we have to win this week to get a bye as well, right?
Yeah, I think we do. We're going for that number one spot, but yeah, we're in second, I believe, right now.
Yes, sir. Yeah, crucial week. On the agenda for today, we're gonna dive into our DFS lineups because at the end of the day, and I'm kind of kicking myself. I know these guys are too for not diving into our DFS a little bit more because obviously these are guys that we believe in for the week. And there is a caveat to it because we are on a budget when we're setting our DFS lineup, so we do have to get value in certain places. But in other cases, we're taking a hit somewhere else because we really believe in somebody this week. So that's just kind of something that I feel like we probably should have been doing earlier on. But alas, here we are. I think we're going to take some lineup questions as well.
Yeah. We'll do those at the end.
It's going to be a quickie.
I think we have a couple that are going to line up on the DFS. I know one of them, Begley, for sure has the same as I do, and I feel like it'll be a trifecta for sure. I think Wayne might have it, but I know for a fact Beggs has it without of course disclosing the information beforehand. So I'm interested to see who you guys took this week. I'm trying to climb out of the gutter, and we'll see how it goes. Maybe I just sink deeper into it after this week. We'll find out.
We got to remind the listeners, this is a double doink DFS week on top of the usual DFS doinks that we have in place. So this is a crucial week for us here at the podcast. A lot of blood, sweat, and equity went into my lineup. So you're getting the best of me.
Well, you want to fire it off first, as per tradition?
I do. So quarterback for $7,100, give me Jared Goff at home. Against Minnesota. This game, to me, is going to be a shootout. You're going to see this game reflected in my lineup.
Yeah, I echo that sentiment. We are currently 1-for-1. I also have Jared Goff at 7,100, and I feel like this is going to shape up to be a matchup between a tight end and a flex probably when we're done with it. So, Wayne, where you sitting?
For 7,000, give me Mahontley. Tyler Huntley against Pittsburgh. Give me that divisional matchup. He uses his legs. He's always been a stud when he fills in for Lamar. 7,000, give me that boy. Against Pittsburgh?
I thought about him. He was in my lineup first, I'll be honest with you. At running back, Deonta Foreman, Carolina against Seattle. He's officially healthy. I'm getting value here at 6,900. No way I don't get 20 carries out of Deonta Foreman. My second running back, Kenneth Gainwell. Absolute dart throw here. I'll explain my reasoning here for just a second. All right, Kenny Gainwell is going to be involved. I'm looking for a guy I'm not going to get a zero out of. I'm hoping for two or three targets in the passing game, maybe a little goal line action. But this is the only weak spot in my lineup this week.
Looking for 2 or 3 points out of Kenny Gainwell.
I know. I don't know if our listeners kind of echoed Goni and I's face like you just sucked on a lemon warhead.
Yeah. I mean, I went back and forth between him and Mike Boone for a little while. They're similar in price.
That's
I
fine. You're going to have some
was
absolute monsters at wide receiver,
Stud wide
obviously.
receivers.
So
yeah.
Beggs, I'm surprised you didn't. It started off exactly how I didn't want it to with Deonta Foreman. That's who I'm sitting on for 6,900 as well. And then I am deeply surprised you did not take Tony Pollard for 7,500 against Houston. It's a great matchup. I like it. Wayne, what do you got?
took Joe Mixon against Cleveland. 31st against the run. They played earlier this year, and that's when he had his most targets and receptions on the year. So I'm looking for a little PPR jammy on his return. Give P. Ryan a little break and let the man come in and show why he's an RB1. He's my most expensive player on the week, 8,500. I can't believe you all overlooked this guy. I can't believe it. For 7,000, give me Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams against Minnesota. He's an absolute goal line vulture, and he's been playing out of his mind. I honestly, when I saw that he was only 7,000, I couldn't wait to slot him in my lineup.
I can assure you nobody was overlooked. The prices just didn't work. If I could find $100, I may have upgraded Deonta to Jamal Williams. But for receiver, I went Jetta for 9,300. I think he's a lock for a 20-point fantasy week this week. Minnesota's playing for, the home playoff spot, maybe trying to get the bye over Philly. They got a lot to play for. I think this game's a shootout. I've got Amon-Ra St. Brown for 8,600. That gives me the stack with Jared Goff. He's hotter than bull piss right now, and I'm trying to take advantage of that. And then my third receiver is Christian Kirk. I think this is a big-time matchup play. Goni, I hate your stupid smile right now. For 7,600. For 7,600, he was the number one player that jumped out at me at quality to value, so that he was a lock in all my lineup iterations.
Yeah, Wayne, like he said, it wasn't overlooked. It's just that I also have Jetta at 9,300.
Gosh,
I also have Amon-Ra St. Brown at 8,600. And you just can't run the triple stack like that. You can't run quarterback, running back, wide receiver from the same team.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
But I'm not, no poo-pooing on your pick or anything. It's just couldn't do it. I guess the difference between us on that one, Beggs, is I took George Pickens for 6,300 against Baltimore. Great chemistry with Pickett. And I'm just looking for him to, outscore your guys. So we only have two differences so far. It's going to be brutal.
Listen, I'm leading the pack by multiple points. And if I win this week, I'm beating both your tails. And if I lose this week, I lost both your tails. Because I ain't got none of those receivers, boys. I'm matching 0 players with you all.
Wow.
My first receiver, if you look at my lineup, I'm very even cost-wise. I've found that my worst weeks are when I try and get a bunch of value somewhere and
bank on a stud.
I bank on a stud, and if he doesn't pan out, I'm just done for. So this week I went a little bit different route and just tried to find middle-of-the-pack guys and just hopefully 12-point you all to death. I know I'm not going to get a 30-banger out of any of these guys. But yeah. So my first guy, I'm going with Garrett Wilson. They're playing against Buffalo. Buffalo's pass defense has not been that good this year. They're probably going to be down, going to be throwing. I like Mike White. So give me Garrett Wilson there. Give me Tyler Lockett for my other wide receiver at 7,700 against Carolina. Geno Smith, again, been playing great. He's been averaging 13 fantasy points per game, and he's been very consistent. He hasn't been the Tyler Lockett of old that's either feast or famine. He's been very consistent this year, so I like the price tag at 7,700 for Tyler Lockett. Third, give me Mike Evans. I feel like we're going to have to pass on this defense. We just don't have the rushing power to go against this defensive line. I feel like we're going to just run a lot of little screens, hopefully PPR to death. 49ers got the number one defense, and their pass defense is not good. I feel like that's what we're going to have to fully rely on is the passing game, which is why I'm going with Mike Evans on this one.
I feel like all your guys have at least boom ability. You said you're not expecting a 30-banger, but Lockett can do it any week. Evans can do it any week. Yeah. Garrett Wilson, I think he's done it once. So, I mean, it's possible. But, I don't hate it.
No, I actually really like those receivers, Wayne. I agree with all of them, and I especially agree with your logic on Mike Evans. I thought just for his price, there's good value there. You're not getting a better player than Mike
$7,000
Evans at this point, for sure. So I went with a tight end, Christian Okonkwo for Tennessee. I was really torn between him and Daniel Bellinger. I still might swap over to Danny Bellinger at 4,800. I just thought Okonkwo was a ceiling play. I think he can be a little more explosive than Bellinger. Bellinger's probably got a better floor. I'm going Garrett Wilson in my flex. I agree with you, Wayne. Buffalo's defense, especially their secondary, is a little suspect. Mike White's throwing the ball 50 times a game right now. Garrett Wilson is that dude, and he tore Buffalo up first time around. Hoping for lightning to strike twice. That defense, boys, I was scraping the barrel. We're going Denver against the Chiefs. I'm nervous. I hope it's a divisional game. And I hope Denver understands that in order to keep this game close, we got to try to kneecap Mahomes out there. Bust out your inner Greg Williams here. But for 3,200, it's the bottom of the barrel, and it's a good defense. We'll see.
Fair enough. Keep Okonkwo because I have Daniel Bellinger, and I don't want to have you taking another one of my guys. 4,800. I try to take all value on these, honestly. It was kind of rough for me in the flex, but I settled with Latavius Murray for 6,200. Denver against KC. I saw the face, man, but I assure you that the Denver defense play against KC is much more sour than that. And then I took the Cleveland Browns against Cincy, 3,300. We'll see how it goes. They've taken it to Cincy the last 5 times they played. So we'll see what happens. It doesn't look good on paper, man. Also, side thing, I can't believe that I skipped over the opportunity a bunch of times already. Have you boys seen that the Detroit Lions are favorites this week against Minnesota? Like the 10-3 Minnesota Vikings?
No, but they've been playing great.
They're better at home, man.
Jared Goff is trying to get himself a contract.
Yeah, dude. I found that wild. It's awesome, though. Go Lions.
All right. I think this is the most I've spent on a tight end all year. Not a stud, though. I'm taking Freiermuth against Baltimore.
I love it.
Baltimore, middle of the pack defense. I feel like it's a divisional game, and they're going to rely on him. For my flex, Goni, tip of the cap, give me George Pickens in that same matchup. George Pickens, the Ravens secondary is atrocious.
And he's been crying. He's upset he didn't get the ball.
Squeaky wheel. My defense, I like way more than yours. I got the Jags defense against the Titans.
Fair enough.
With $100 to spare this week, I just could not find somebody that I wanted to throw that $100 in there.
So, before we go through, who are our differences in our lineup? We got the Okonkwo Bellinger matchup. I've got Gainwell and Garrett Wilson and Kirk.
I have Pollard, Pickens, Bellinger.
Who's your flex?
Latavius Murray.
All right, so there's a difference. Gainwell.
Gross.
Gainwell, Christian Kirk, and Garrett Wilson over Latavius Murray, George Pickens, and who was the other turd you said?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Daniel Bellinger. Cleveland Browns. It doesn't matter, man.
It doesn't matter. All right. My lineup, Jared Goff, 7,100, Kenny Gainwell, Deonta Foreman, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Christian Kirk, Christian Okonkwo, Garrett Wilson, and Denver's defense.
Jared Goff, Deonta Foreman, Tony Pollard, Jay Jetta, Amon-Ra, George Pickens, Daniel Bellinger, Latavius Murray, and the Cleveland Browns.
Tyler Huntley, Joe Mixon, Jamal Williams, Garrett Wilson, Tyler Lockett, Mike Evans, Pat Freiermuth, George Pickens, and the Jags D.
I like your lineup, Wayne. I'm not going to lie. I like it.
Wayne's team sounds like one that had the 6 or 7 pick in the draft.
Definitely. Absolutely.
I don't
you
have
and
any,
I were
I don't
sitting at
have
like
any
2 and
studs, man.
3.
Ours were like we traded with the league scab and stole all of his draft picks in a startup draft.
I'm
right.
just, the thing is, boys, if you all get out of a dud out of Jetta or Amon Ra, I don't think y'all touch me this week. That being said, if you get Jetta's usual and Amon Ra's lately, you're gonna whoop me.
Maybe.
Let's hope for that.
Yeah. There's no way this game's not a shootout, right, gentlemen? There's no way.
I don't know. I'm going to check out the what the over under is for it real quick. One
Last
time.
time I looked, I think it was the second highest of the week.
51.5. It's pretty healthy.
Extra. So that's it's still Miami and the Chargers. They're still higher, but the gap closed a little.
I just know there's going to be at least one play that I'm going to get a text about from you all where Amon Ra gets a bomb and gets tackled at about the 3, and then Jamal vultures the tutty. Y'all going to be mad about it.
That's worst case.
Are you not worried at all about the return of DeAndre Swift?
No, he was vulturing touchdown. He leads the league in touchdowns. He vultures touchdowns.
No, I understand that, but since week 1, I don't think Swift has had more than 5 carries, and he just had 15 plus the last game.
They're not
just a volume change. I mean, I know you want the touchdown and everything, but obviously you want the touchdown and more than 18 yards or something on the ground. You know.
My thing is Jamal Williams has carried this team through DeAndre Swift's injuries. They're not going to turn their back on him. He's still going to get his.
Fair enough.
Plus, we're talking about a $7,000 addition to the squad. It's not like it's not like I dropped a bunch of my cap on him.
Yeah. All right, you guys want to get into a few questions before we wrap this up?
Let's talk about Baker first.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it.
Baker Mayfield, let's go.
Can we agree that Baker sucks?
Yeah. Yeah. We can agree that Baker sucks and that he's probably going to be relegated to backup duty. But the man came in fresh off the streets, learned about 5, 6, maybe 7 plays on the jet on the way to Los Angeles, and beat Begley's champion team, the Las Vegas Raiders. Derek Carr, Devontae Adams and all only put up 16 points on a depleted Rams defense and lost to Baker Mayfield on a 98-yard. Did you see them? Did you see them on that punt at the end of the game? Even like a highlight or anything? Because I didn't really watch a lot of the game. I'm not going to lie to you. But the punter for the Raiders hit one. It gets down to like the 10.
They were grittying.
Yep. Yeah, they were grittying. And, insult to injury right there with Baker coming down and hitting Van Jefferson.
Is it just me, or does Baker always do this? He like in Cleveland, he would show flashes of greatness, but then it's like, okay. Like, as the more he played, it was like, okay, he's trash. Then he went to Carolina, and it was like, okay. And then he quickly went to trash. So I feel like he's doing it again. Like, all right, new place, great, and he's just going to be trash again. Baker's awful. Yeah. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, he's awful. He's a system quarterback, right? Like Stefanski and McVay run something similar, right? The play action, it kind of hides his terribleness a little bit, but he's awful.
I mean, he definitely made some good passes in this game for sure. It's just, I don't know. It's just like, it's just weird. Like, the longer he sits as the starting quarterback, I said that extremely weird. It's just like the worse he gets. It doesn't make any sense.
It's the scheme, man. I mean, this is two running teams, and eventually his warts show, I think. I mean, you hand the ball off to Nick Chubb 30 or 40 times a game, it'll hide how terrible you are.
But it really didn't. It was still very apparent.
True. That's how bad
he brought him out of the cellar, though. I know they had a better roster, and he literally did it last night, though, with no Allen Robinson, no Cooper Kupp, like a hobbled. I mean, Cam Akers is making his comeback tour right now, actually. I mean, hey, man, think what you want about it. He had a good week last week. I think the week before he scored a tutty, last night. And he's got good matchups coming up. He could be a playoff darling.
He looks bad. No, I mean, but seriously, let's talk about this for a second. Wayne, I know you're a big fan of the eye test. Can you just watch somebody and just say they're not that good? I don't care what, let's just forget the stats. He's just not that good. Is that a thing for you?
Yeah, well, for sure.
Is he not that way for you? I mean, he just doesn't look good, man. He looks slow.
See, that's fine. That's completely understandable.
But you're talking about an absolutely depleted line as well.
Yeah, dude. They're hampered with tons of injury. I mean, the guy was an RB8 last week. He finished as the RB8 last week. I mean, regardless of what you think he looks like, if you're scoring 2 touchdowns, I mean, Todd Gurley did it a few years ago that we've referenced a couple times where Wayne traded him away.
Well, yeah, if you're scoring 2 touchdowns, but that's not going to be the norm every week. You and I both know that.
Yeah, well, sustainability, man. You hate sustainability, and sometimes these things happen, man. It's a stretch run. We have 3 games left. Well, I mean, Cam Akers will have 3 games left after this, and it's going to be all playoffs. It's Green Bay, Denver, and Chargers. Denver's kind of rough, but the Chargers are a dream matchup. And Green Bay's not bad either next week. I would highly consider flexing him next week for sure.
I can't wait to put a doink on Cam Akers this week with you.
James Cook versus Cam Akers?
I'm not going to make another doink on James Cook. It's bad business. But I'll do a separate one about Akers, sure. Put a
James Cook.
Put
James
a point
Cook
total.
And Akers.
Put a point total on Akers.
Nah, dude, I ain't playing that game with you. I'm saying you don't do point totals when you're talking about playing in a fantasy football lineup, my guy.
What do you mean? Sure you do.
Do you know when you're sitting there deciding and everything? Are you looking at your roster? Are you saying I'm going to play this guy over this guy? I'm not sitting here trying to determine whether or not he's going to get, if he's going to hit his threshold or whatever, his projection and stuff like that. I want the better matchup. I want whoever is going to, I think, put up more points. Obviously, okay, but you're comparing 2 players. I don't understand how you don't think you are. You're comparing 2 players now.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna throw a name out there. Let's say it's between him and Adam Thielen in your flex. I'm just gonna throw a name out there, right?
Right.
You look at the matchup, but ultimately you go with who you think is going to score more fantasy points, right?
Obviously.
So you in your mind put some sort of a projection on Cam Akers. No, you say, well, if I can get 50 yards and a tutty here, I think he's capable of that. You have a projection in your mind.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. What is your projection for Cam Akers?
Okay, but I'm saying that I'm not going to take a doink bet with you when I'm saying I would consider flexing him. I'm not going to put a point total. I want a guy that you are fond of, like James Cook, and I want to go against him, as we would normally when you're choosing your lineup, my guy. I know you haven't set your lineup in weeks, man, all right? So you get the practice in.
Listen, the problem with you when we do these doinks is unless I throw out somebody absolutely atrocious, we can't get a doink done because you want to have such an overwhelming advantage. If I throw out Drake London, you'd scoff at me, even though he's doo-doo water.
I'd think that if I was 3-10 as well on the season, man.
It happens, man. You got to rebuild. It's just it's also being part of a winning dynasty manager.
No. I meant on doinks. You're 3-10. No, I wasn't poo-pooing on your fantasy teams.
Well, my fantasy team deserves to be poo-pooed on. I'm probably 3-10 in there. It's probably accurate. But you got to remember, my off-season doinks, I had room to grow. I had room to lose.
Definitely had room to lose.
Let's get to a few questions.
Yes, sir.
I can't wait to send you a Drake London Cam Akers doink, hot off the press next week.
All right, fair enough.
D Mitty, he's got an interesting question. He's in a 12-team, 1 PPR league right now. It's moving to a super flex league in 2025, which I think is kind of interesting. This is the result of all of his trades this year. I'm going to give you a list of players he gave up. I'm going to give you a list of players he got. He wants to know, would you have done this at the beginning of the season? And what do you think about it now? So give me 2 answers. He gave up Najee, a 23-1, a 24-1, a 25-1, DJ Moore, Laviska Shenault, and Matt Ryan. He got A.J. Brown, Jalen Waddle, Joe Burrow, and Aaron Rodgers.
No. Giving up too many picks.
No at the beginning of the season and still no now?
Definitely no at the beginning of the season because I wasn't as high on A.J. Brown as you all were.
I mean, so he got back Waddle, Brown, Joe Burrow,
and Aaron Rodgers. Gave up a 23 first, a 24 first, a 25 first.
Najee and DJ Moore, Laviska and Matt Ryan.
Najee and DJ Moore and Matt Ryan. Beginning of the year, no, because I wasn't high on A.J. Brown and I was high on Matt Ryan. I can eat my shoe on that one. But now I still don't think I would. That's a lot of picks, man.
I think I would. At the beginning of the year, maybe not because you didn't know how terrible Matt Ryan was. None of us were high on Najee, so it seemed actually pretty brilliant early on. Like looking back at it now, it looked great because of, how bad Najee has done this year, which I think he comes back a little bit. But Najee's not been great. Matt Ryan has been terrible. Laviska's nothing practically. And who was the other player? Who?
DJ Moore.
DJ Moore is just so hit or miss with more on the miss side. So to me, it's really like those 3 picks, Najee, who's more of like an RB2, and then like on just the right day, a playable DJ Moore for 3 studs in a super flex. So like I definitely like it now for him for sure, especially in a super flex. If Joe Burrow is he could be your one. That's a phenomenal one for years to come. And then you have 2 superstar wide receivers that are extra young as well. So I like it. Chances of you hitting players of that caliber, no matter where you're drafting in those drafts, is very low anyways. And all those players, in my opinion, are a 1. It's going to take a first-round pick plus to get them. That's just where I come from with it.
I like it for the Joe Burrow alone, right? Like Aaron Rodgers, man, sorry.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is a throwaway, but I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, Wayne, if it's a super flex, you're paying Najee in a 1 for Joe Burrow all day, right? You're probably paying Najee in 2 1s maybe for Joe Burrow.
Definitely not 2 1s.
Steep for you.
Price.
It would depend on your roster. It's pretty steep though. But yeah, I mean, for Joe Burrow, it's obviously you're looking at 1 and then a starter.
Yeah. 69-tailed Fox said, is he crazy for thinking about sending Lamar plus for Hurts in the offseason?
Yes, he is crazy.
Why?
It's the same archetype of player. And I mean, we've seen sustained success out of, Lamar Jackson as far as fantasy goes. He's not playing with any wide receiver. It's just I don't see you're overpaying for what I think is going to be a minor upgrade. And that's just where I come from with it. I've never been, super high on Lamar. I was extra high. We were all very high on Jalen Hurts this year. It's just is the upgrade worth it to you boys or what? Am I missing something here?
I don't do it. Give me Lamar.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's not a big enough upgrade. You're not crazy for thinking it. I don't.
No.
But it's kind of pointless.
I think this is a good one. Far Cattle 72-42. Should he play Zeke or Pollard this week?
Brutal. I personally, yeah, exactly. As much as I want Zeke to score because we're playing him this week, I think Pollard is the play. You're facing the worst rush defense in the league. They're not going to throw a whole lot. Like they have actually one of the better I won't say better pass defenses. That gives them way too much credit, but they have some of the least passing yardage allowed. It's just because teams get up super high on them and then just run the ball down their throat for the rest of the game. So, I mean, I just see a lot of rushing yards, and Pollard just pops, man. Every time he touches the ball, he just shot out of a cannon. He looks great. So I'd look for him more on the big play than for, getting down to the goal line and Zeke punching in a 1 or 2 yarder or something.
Zeke
Wayne?
always manages to bust out a big one every now and then, though.
He does. I don't think there's a wrong answer on it. I think they both
There really
do
isn't.
well.
It's the script. We don't know it.
Yeah. Yep.
If you're ever going to play Zeke with confidence, I think it's in this game. Dallas knows long term in the playoffs, Pollard's the asset, so I don't think they're afraid to give Zeke 20 touches in a game we should win by 20 points. So I think I'm going Zeke as a Dallas fan here. You'll get a touchdown. Last question, White Lighting 416. Pick 2, Diggs, Lamb, or Waddle?
To play this week or like to have?
To play this week.
Diggs
against
Lamb,
the Jets, Lamb against the Texans, Waddle against the Chargers. So while you guys are thinking, because you both have your thinking caps on, I don't know how you sit Waddle here against the Chargers.
I'm not playing CD.
Lamb scares me because we might get up early.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
But Diggs, Sauce Gardner is no joke, boys. Jets defense is for real, and
You're right.
They shut Diggs down.
See,
they shut him down.
No. He had. I was just looking at this recently.
Me and Wayne had a doink on it, and I won. He was under 20 that week.
Yeah, but that's not shutting him down. He had 5 receptions for 93 yards on 10 targets. I'm just saying it's not a shutdown, and he wasn't even on him. Sauce wasn't even on him. Sauce was on Gabe Davis in that game. So, I take Lamb though. Either way, just because, like you said, man, game script. I can't. I don't even put the. What's the over under on this? Where would you guys stand with it? 1.5 touchdown passes from Dak.
Gosh,
that's the question you have to ask yourself. If you're going to take the over, I think I'm going to take the under.
I am too, man. Look, y'all just dropped 50, and he had 2 touchdown passes?
Would you guys like to put a doink on it?
I mean, I don't have it. I don't hold it with that much like conviction or anything. I'm just asking. It's a very, very close one. Let me see. I'm just curious as to how many he's put up.
Just for the fun of the week. It's a coin flip. He doesn't, surprisingly, we run the ball a lot in the red zone. There's no doubt.
He put up 3. He put up 3 touchdowns last week. It's just, I don't feel great about playing him though. Like if I had him for fantasy this week, I'm kind of looking for a pivot option. They dropped 50 last week, and he put up 17.8, and that's scoring 3 touchdowns. Put up 15.8 the week before.
You're saying Dak Prescott you're pivoting off of?
Yeah, Dak Prescott I would pivot off of if possible. I think Jared Goff is like a way better option this week, or just for streaming options sake and everything. Kirk Cousins, if you have Kirk Cousins, sitting on the bench.
Dak or Tom Brady?
Brutal. That's a very good question. And I think I'd probably go Dak.
You have to.
Tom Brady's been so meh this year. It's hard to bank on him, period.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who you guys
let me ask you all a question for my own personal gain.
Mm-hmm.
Dak or Trevor Lawrence?
Wow.
I'm leaning Trevor Lawrence.
If Trevor Lawrence plays and without any restrictions or anything, I think I'd rather play Trevor Lawrence as well. Without even thinking.
Yeah, Tennessee's so bad in the passing. I mean, their secondary is the worst in the league against the pass. I'd probably go Trevor.
That's who I have slotted in right now.
For it.
He's questionable, but he's been practicing. So, I mean, if he ends up playing, I like him more over. Oh, quarterback 9 on the year, by the way. Trevor Lawrence, one time.
He's had a few. He's had a few big ones.
Better than Tua, he said. Man, brutal.
Yeah, that's it for the questions, boys. Short episode this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Listen, Ad Mob, take a second. Thank you all. We've been setting records this week for downloads. 150, over 150 in one day, and over 100 yesterday. So we appreciate y'all. We're getting out there. Please follow us if you like what you hear. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. That's the best way to get to us because at the end of the day, what we want to do is more questions. I mean, we want to. That's kind of the niche that we want to slide into is just directly helping our following with your specific questions. So again, we appreciate y'all. It's nice to see the analytics showing that you all like what we're doing. So we're gonna keep rolling with it. Please, again, just remember to follow. So we know what platform really to focus on.
We appreciate
it. All.
Thank you, guys.
It's a Christmas miracle.
Yeah, and we're here for you. We're here for you in the playoffs. It's crunch time.
Yeah.
Let's get this championship.
You know what? The Mad Mob for MVP.